We're pleased to be joined by starting quarterback for our Saskatchewan Roughriders, Grey Cup MVP, Trevor Harris. Trevor, thanks for making time. How's things going so far?
It's great. Just been back here in Regina for about a week now and having a good time getting around the community and getting some work in and tossing the ball around with some of the guys and whatnot. So it's been fun.
Do you get tired of hearing that, Grey Cup MVP?
I'm kind of over it, but just ready to move on to this year. But it is definitely something that I'll always cherish for sure. Like it's one of those things where like after the Grey Cup, I was kind of over it. After a couple days, I was like, let's just think about how can we do it again? How can we be better? What things can we improve on and lift this to even more heights? Because I'd like this to be a Saskatchewan Rough Rider Corey Mace era, not just 1 year, flash in the pan sort of a deal. But when you introduced me to it, I wouldn't decline it.
So you were just back up here in Saskatchewan doing some promotional stuff as we kind of get ready for the upcoming season. But how excited are you to get back here for your, May and training camp and football again?
It's what we do, and you go home for probably the month of December, and I think the real ones by like probably mid-January are like, all right, let's play some ball. But we just got to wait on the weather to turn a little bit. So I can't wait, because you chat all off season about, the adjustments you're going to make, the things you want to do differently, schematically, things you want to do and try, and, the new players that you sign, and how is this group going to be, cohesively one unit, and how are we going to gel together, and how's this team going to reach new heights? How do we make one another better? How do we show we care for one another? Just all those things that you kind of go into a season. You get excited to kind of get the ball rolling.
I heard you say on the Sports Cage the other day that you already have pages upon pages of notes on other teams already from the West Division. Man, you never stop the grind. Like, what has your approach this offseason been any different than any of your other seasons, especially following a Grey Cup victory? Like you're not pulling any fire trucks anymore, right?
I have, the toy fire truck was a fun one. But we, like I try and tell people, like, when you're bored, you go, to the movies. I like to watch films. That's what I like to watch, and so I might be one of those weirdo lame guys, but I just like to watch ball. I like to play ball. That's what I've done my whole life. And first and foremost, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. And then, secondly, I just happen to play football, and that's what I like to do. I'm not somebody that does a bunch of things. I like to love my wife and my kids and try and be a great husband, father, and good Christian. And then, I want to be a good football player. And I just love the challenge, the grind of football. And I don't think I'm unique in the fact that I have a lot of notes. I would assume other quarterbacks are watching film, taking notes, and thinking about things they want to do during the next upcoming season. But it's kind of weird how this offseason I thought maybe I would have to fight complacency, but it's just actually the hunger's kind of, and the fire's burning brighter. So it's been kind of encouraging for me.
So take us back to that game in November, Grey Cup game. You see that Hail Mary hit the turf, no flags on the field. What's the first thing that ran through your mind as you realized that you were a 25 Grey Cup champ?
I think it was more or less act like you've been there before. I think you've seen the camera pans to me, and I just take a few steps on the field, and then I just take a knee. And I was like, act like you've been there before, be humble. And I was like, I just need to praise God right now for the journey. Not so much just for the win, just for the journey of, everything that kind of you go through to get to these points in life. And you're grateful for the ups and downs, the valleys, the peaks, everything in between. And you look forward to how you can grow from this and glorify God's name. And so that's kind of like what I've been gearing toward, is how can I continue to push the ceiling higher. And yeah, in that moment I was just, act like you've been there before, act like you've been there before. And I was like, I haven't though. So kind of just took a knee and just said a quick prayer of how grateful I was, and then got up and started hugging my brothers, and did some stuff that I was really looking forward to, where, I wanted to watch the Sasky guys celebrate, the Jorgen Hughes, the Furlans, the Jackson Ford, the Nelson Lacumbos, the guys that have been here for a long time and have been through the ringer for this organization. And it was just nothing like it to watch those guys celebrate and lift that trophy over their head.
That the trophy celebration, obviously, Jamarcus Hardrick was one of the first guys in there. Was he pushing guys out of the way, be like, me first, I got to get in there?
Yes.
That tracks.
Yeah. He's that guy. That's Yoshi. Yeah, and he's the man though. Everybody loves Yoshi.
Um, I don't want to bring up age too much, but I do look back at last year, and one of the moments that stands out to me was when your son got to introduce the team onto the field, got to introduce you at Mosaic Stadium. Would it be fair to say that as your children get older and start to realize, what dad does for a living, get a true grasp on things here, that you like maybe appreciate pro football a little bit more these days?
Absolutely. And the fact that my son is conscious enough that he'll remember me playing pro football is something that is pretty darn cool. And praise God that I've been able to play long as I have, to be able to kind of do that. It's something I'm truly, truly grateful for. And I'm okay to talk about age. I know people might. I don't feel like I'm 39. I feel like a kid still playing a game. The only thing that makes me feel older is I have 4 kids. But aside from that, everywhere else I kind of feel young, and so I'm excited for this upcoming season. But hearing him introduce us, it was really kind of cool to hear him do that, because he did such a great job.
Yeah,
and it's kind of funny because after he had got done, there was a few people. We'd go to Costco, and people would be like, "Oh, hey, it's good to see you." Blah, blah. And they're like, "Is this your son? Hey, you did the announcement. You did so good." And he's like, "Dad, I think I might be more famous than you." And I was like, "Well, I'm not famous, but you might be more popular than me, because there are still doubters out there of me, and there's no doubters of you. So you might be right."
Fair. In Saskatchewan, QB1 is always on that ledge.
Yeah.
It helps when you win a cup, though. Once you reach that level,
I'm seeing that right now. I'm seeing that now. But I know it's until we lose a game, and then it all changes. But it's all good. I'm excited for this year. I'm ready for whatever the season brings.
They're looking for a new PA announcer this year. Is your son's name in the hat for that? He's already got the experience.
It depends how much it pays. Maybe he'll throw his hat in the ring.
No hometown discount.
Yeah, I should do that, actually.
I have to mention age once more, and then I'll get away from that, because you do hit the big 40 at the end of May. Mm-hmm. I also turned 40 this upcoming August myself. Mike Gundy. How much are you looking forward to that Mike Gundy, I'm a man, I'm 40, and just playing that clip and using that over and over? Because I'm super pumped to do that myself.
Yeah, I remember hearing that clip like when it happened, and I was like, dang, 40. He's grown. Like, that's old, like here we are. But I feel great, man. It's kind of strange. I didn't expect to be playing at 40, but maybe I did. But I kind of spoke it when I was younger, and you get laughed at for it. Just like when you're younger, you get laughed at for probably saying that you guys would work for, doing what you're doing right now. But it's one of those things where you just kind of put your head down and keep working. But yeah, it's big birthday this year, unfortunately, and I'm never one to celebrate my birthday, but I know they're going to do some stuff during that day, I'm sure, to razz me and make me feel old. So,
as somebody who's crossed that line already, it's not very scary on the other side, I promise. It's basically exactly the same.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So if you could pinpoint a moment from 2025, you're looking back a little bit, was there a moment that you looked at that team and said, this team is going to win it all?
I'll tell you, toward the end of camp, I'd said to Mueller, I was like, I think we got a chance to do it this year. And he was like, I know we do. And then I remember we were playing at Winnipeg. We were in the room before the game, and I'd said to Jack, Jack, I think we're the best team in the league. I think we're gonna win it, and I think we got a really good chance. And he goes, yeah, you're darn right we do. We're the best team in the league. And I remember at that moment I was like, we're gonna win it. And it kind of got to the point where I was like, man, I don't know if we want to clinch this early, because you don't want to be foot off the gas that long. And yeah, you could just tell we had a different set in our sights on something different. And I think that this group is just talking to kind of the leadership group, group message going right now actually started ringing through as we were chatting here. That's why I had to turn my notifications off. It's a group that's set on, what are we going to do now? How do we respond to this? It's no longer, okay, hey, we did it. Look at us. Look how cool we are. It's, how are we going to respond from this? Because what we've done in the past, it doesn't matter now. It doesn't do anything for us in 2026. It doesn't score a touchdown for us. We don't get a 7-point lead to start games. It's, how are we going to respond? And I think that that's going to be kind of the big thing that we've got to answer this year. But we have the guys, the core group of guys coming back that I believe have the DNA and the makeup to to do what we need to do to get this done. But you won't see a group talking about, hey, we need to run it back or be back to back. It's a new challenge, a new standard that we've set that we've got to live up to every day. And how are we going to kind of push that even higher?
Well, I do want to say thank you for that win in Winnipeg at the Banjo Bowl. We do a bus out there every year with our group, and it was so much nicer leaving that stadium after a win than it's been the last few years after some of those games. So thank you for that specifically.
Absolutely. And when you said that, I didn't mean it as a dig, but I was like, wait, which one are you talking about at Winnipeg?
There was two good ones. Banjo Bowl was the bus, but if I have to pick one win, I'll take the Grey Cup win.
Yeah, it was great, man. And you know what? You got to give props to Winnipeg. They've been the class of the league for quite a while, and
do we really have to give reloading? Do we really have to?
I mean, should we be kind? I mean, we've got to, right? I mean, and Zach's my guy, but they've done a great job over the last number of years. But I do feel like it's kind of it's been fun to kind of be in the mix with them and us be able to kind of take over last year and win it. And so hopefully we can continue it and keep it going.
I know we're looking ahead to this season, and you're saying you're not going to hear anybody saying run it back. So what's the message then that you're going to have to guys at training camp when the group gets together to kind of, just forget last year? Because like you said, it means nothing.
Yeah. And I think it's just whatever the situation is, no matter where we're at, just drop the puck, spot the ball, let's go play. Check ball, go play. And like I kind of alluded to earlier, is what's our response? There's an event of the season coming up. We're going to respond a certain way. It's going to be determined, and it determines what the outcome is. We're not going to control the events during the season. We're not going to control the outcomes. We control our response. And so how are we going to respond? Because teams are going to bring their best to us every game, because you got a bullseye on your back when you're the Grey Cup champs, and whatever that may bring, it doesn't matter. It matters how we're going to respond every day. If you're up 10, how are you going to respond? If you're down 10, how are you going to respond? And everything's about your response to whatever event is placed in front of you. And I think that we've just got a group that's going to keep swinging. And no matter what the situation is, we're going to come out fighting regardless, and hopefully control the outcome by having just a championship caliber response.
Now, James Letcher said he signed in Saskatchewan thanks to a phone call from you. Does J.O. need to start looking over his shoulder? Is general manager something in your future?
So we've got a little like a little joke going around between J.O., Kyle, myself, Craig Reynolds, and because I asked them to let me be involved in the recruiting process a little bit, because I do enjoy having the conversations with the guys, letting them know what it's like here from a player's perspective. And so, like, I'll just send him a picture of, like, Mariano Rivera, and I'm like, hey, send me in. Let me close this thing out if you got any guys. And so he'll say, all right, Mariano, here's a number, go close the deal. And so we just have a little running joke with it. But as soon as I heard we were in with James, I said, hey, shoot me his number. I'd love to, have a conversation with him, because I've had a lot of respect for him as a player for a long time. And he's been a dynamic returner. And I think he's got a higher ceiling, and I'm excited for him to come to the green and white, to the good side, and raise his level of play even more, and lift up this franchise a little higher.
I like that. The closer is you're big on nicknames for people. You did that I don't know if you still do it every training camp, but you get the guys in the room and you say, give me your nickname or else I'll give you one. Would Trevor Harris's nickname be the closer?
No. Yeah, it's I'll have to take you guys through the nickname game sometime and see what the computer spits out and see what it is. But it's quite a fun game. But we'll play next time. But once we play it, you can't tell anybody the rules of how it works, because it could give somebody an advantage. But you'll get a nickname one of these days.
All right.
Don't you worry, Alex. Nickname's coming. I'm not going to call you Alex forever.
Randy Ambrosi gave me he called me the Hammer once. So.
It's a great name.
I think so too. Yeah. I think he was watching curling that day, actually, to be honest. Now that you've been in Saskatchewan now for a few seasons, what have you learned about yourself, the football player, and what have you learned about yourself, the man?
I think I've learned as a football player that probably the same thing that I've learned as a person is that authenticity is often the most best thing you can possibly do in life. Is I think as a leader, as a person, as a football player, whatever that is being authentically yourself is going to position yourself for the most success in life. I think a lot of times people try and act like a chameleon to try and fit in. But oftentimes, if you do that, people around you are going to notice, and they notice you as a phony. And if you can just be yourself, just be authentically yourself. If you're corny, I'm a little corny. I like dad jokes. I'm a little bit of a cornball, but I embrace that, and I'm big into my faith. Like I don't say curse words and whatnot. And so like guys were like, if we win the Grey Cup, Trev, you got to let an F-bomb out. And I was like, that's just not me. And I think that people will learn to appreciate who you are if you're authentic and who you are in yourself. Whereas if you try and blend in and be somebody that you're not, oftentimes people sniff that out and they know you're a phony. And I think that you guys would probably agree to that. And I think anybody listening would understand that being yourself is the best version of yourself anyway. And so why would you try and be something else? There's really no advantage to doing that for anybody.
Well, if you want to be anybody, you've got the most experience in life being yourself. You might as well stick to it, right?
Yeah, love it.
I do have to ask, looking ahead a little bit to camp and to the season ahead, the Riders have been fairly busy free agent wise, and as it is always in the CFL. Is there anybody in particular that they've signed that you're kind of excited to work with? I know you mentioned James Letcher. Is there anybody else that just stood out as I can't wait to get to camp to work with that guy?
I've really enjoyed playing the challenge of playing against Josh Woods. I think he'll be a good one. The challenges and physicality that James Vaughters brings to the table is going to be fun. And some of the receivers, I think that if you guys are around for training camp and watch the preseason, you guys are going to really enjoy some of the young receivers. Juwan Winfrey's going to be one. You got Freddie Swain, Tyree Cleveland, Ali Jennings. We've got some young guys that I think could really have a good chance to kind of ascend and become players for us. This is aside from obviously the names that you guys all know. And then we've got guys last year in draft class that weren't here because they went back to school that I think are going to be on board this year and bring some great value for us. And then I think you're going to see names that ascend and play really, really well this year if they get an opportunity to do so. Somebody like Jackson Ford, who I think is just going to be a star. Antoine Brooks, you guys got a little bit of a taste of what he was like last year toward the end of the year, and I think he's got an all-star season in him coming up. And, aside from that, we've kept the core guys intact. All of our DBs are back. Brooks is back at Sam. Jameer's back. We replaced A.J. Allen with Woods. Caleb Sanders is a guy who I think fits this league really, really well, who you might see really get more snaps this year with Micah retiring. And that's going to be a problem for other teams because Caleb Sanders is a really, really good football player. And then you got Mike Rose leading the guys. So we've got quite a few guys back. And like I said, James Vaughters filling in. And then Keyshawn's back. Sam's back. Shafe's back. AJ's back. I'm back. Jamarcus is back. Verlin's back. Then you got Peyton Collins is back. Jacob Bramer's back. So we've got a lot of continuity and a lot of guys competing for just a few jobs. And so it's going to be really, really fun to see how we gel together. But I think we've got a lot of continuity, which I believe is probably the most powerful weapon you can possibly have in football.
And on the flip side of that, is there a defensive player that's left that you're kind of excited to go up against? You mentioned A.J. Allen, C.J. Rivas. There's been a few that have obviously gone on to other teams. Is there a guy you can't wait to, not to torch, but to go up against on the opposite side of the ball? That
left us?
Yeah.
Well, I will say those guys have talked some smack, so they're going to have to see it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Last one for you here, Trevor, because I know you have to get going. I know it's a multi-layered question. It's probably a yes or no, but there's a lot of X's and O's that kind of go into it. Is this Trevor Harris's final year playing in the CFL?
I don't know. It's something that I don't really. I don't know if I'd announce it during a season or before a season. I don't know. Physically, I feel like I could keep playing. It'll just depend kind of just how things are for the family after each year, making sure that this organization's in the right spot. If I'm not the right guy and I can't be a tier 1 quarterback, I won't come back. I care about this franchise deeply. I love this franchise, and I wanted to be a Rough Rider for quite a long time. And so the fact that I get to be the quarterback here, it's something I never take for granted. I'll never take lightly. And so it's something that I hold near and dear to my heart. And I want to make sure that this place has the right guy ready to go, which I'm sure they'll always will. But if I can't be that tier 1 quarterback, I won't do it. But and I think it really comes down to the off-season grind. And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't realize is during the season is not really what will retire guys. It's the off-season grind of getting up early, doing the prep, and I'm a very rigorous routine, trying to find new ways to get better and grow, whether it be through mental performance coaches, neuroplasticians I work with, the grind of film, the physical workouts, because I work out by myself, and so that is quite a task as well. And so I think the off-season is what I'll probably be like, okay, I think that's probably it, but I don't see that in sight now.
Well, we're less than 2 months away. I know I'm excited to see you get back up here. I know you're excited to get back up here with training camp and the guys. Thanks for your time, Trevor. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the time in the off season with the family.
Alex, Steve, appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for having me on.